My panel joins me now. Let us start with you, Kristen Soltis Anderson. Obviously, nobody begrudges anybody trying to stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. The question is this the best way to do it? And is this actually a path to peace or just a path to helping Putin ultimately on the world stage and also extending the war?
Well, it's so interesting that Donald Trump, who for a long time has talked about America needs to kind of let the rest of the world deal with its own issues, has viewed himself as of late as somebody who can really play an active role, whether it is brokering peace deals, and in this case sees himself as central to being able to solve this conflict. And what I think is, what I'm hopeful about is on Monday, you have all of these folks coming to the White House, coming from Europe. One, Donald Trump's base is actually more supportive of being tough on Russia than you might think. In just the last couple of months, Donald Trump's sort of slight shift in posture toward being more sympathetic toward the Ukrainian cause has made a 10% jump in the percentage of Republicans who support financial sanctions, 20% jump in terms of those who support military aid.
We have the graphics there all ready for you.
It's remarkable in just a short amount of time that Trump signaling this tougher posture has made his base come with him. And I especially think Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni being part of this meeting, she is very in sync with the MAGA base. She spoke at CPAC. For her to come here and say, this is why it matters to stick up for Ukraine, I think is important.
What do you think?
I mean, I think Vladimir Putin is a thug. I think he's a war criminal, and I think he made Donald Trump look small. I mean, I understand the minutia of I want a deal like every other American wants a deal, or you should be praying for that deal. However, like I've said before many times, Donald Trump cannot perform on the world stage because he simply does not have the intellect to match up with these world leaders. He's not Barack Obama. He's not Hillary Clinton. He's not even George Bush when it comes to being able to maneuver in these environments. And so what you saw was Vladimir Putin come and get what he wanted. I mean, the winner of this is Vladimir Putin. I don't know why we're trying to hide the ball.
That's what happened when he took Crimea. Obama gave him exactly what he wanted when he let Vladimir Putin have Crimea without so much as a shot or an objection. I think we're also skipping past what happened a week and a half ago. President Trump imposed a 50% tariff on India. Why does that matter? India gets 40% of its oil today from Russia. That was less than 1% just 2 years ago. If you want to stop Vladimir Putin long term, in his aggression, you have to shut off his oil dollars.
So the irony about there with the oil dollars is that same Friday is that sanctions were supposed to be imposed on Putin. And that came and went and nothing happened. And then suddenly Putin gets rewarded, but with a one-on-one meeting with Trump. And that starts the backpedaling of European phone calls, educating Donald Trump on how Vladimir Putin works. And all of that ended up leading to what? A one-on-one meeting where Russia was allowed on U.S. soil on Alaska, which many Russians still believe belongs to them or should come back to them, and bringing now Russia back. And literally, Trump acknowledged Russia as a superpower. Now, I mention this because the Crimea example you mentioned is what kicked Russia out of the elite group of global economic powers. The G8 became the G7. And now Trump has elevated Russia back to this status of equal with all of the democratic powers, and to the point now where the United States has accepted a war criminal into the country, is not doing any more sanctions, and is not holding Putin accountable for the invasion. That is the key thing. All of this started because Putin decided to invade a sovereign European country.
In 2014, when he invaded Crimea, would we be here right now if Obama had stopped him?
Yes, because Russian imperial ambitions have not changed.
The great irony
has been.
The great irony of the Crimea example is Barack Obama made sure that Russia was simply a barren country with a nuclear weapon and maybe a gas pump. Like, that was it. And now, because you lifted sanctions, because you're weak on this thug, because you're weak on this war criminal, and you can't, I mean, not you, but the president of the United States can't even call him that. I mean, we have to call a spade and be able to dictate who and what Vladimir Putin is, and Donald Trump's afraid to do that.
So let's move on, just because we have so much to discuss. There's this redistricting battle, very intense between Democrats and Republicans. In California, Governor Gavin Newsome, a Democrat, unveiled new California maps to counter the redistricting going on in Texas that will ultimately likely create 5 new Republican seats. Let's play a little bit of what Newsome had to say.
They want to rig these elections, and they want the power that gerrymandering provides, because they know what Donald Trump knows. He's going to lose the midterms. Wake up, America. This is a serious moment.
What do you think?
Well, first off, these five seats that are proposed in Texas, 4 of them are majority Hispanic seats. Democrats are saying we can't win Hispanic seats, don't draw Hispanic seats. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is Texas is currently less productive relative to its whole overall vote than California and Illinois are. Currently in Illinois, Democrats get maybe 56, 57% of the vote. They have 83% of the seats. In New York, they have 73% of the seats, also getting in about the mid-50s. So Democratic states like Maryland, New Jersey, New York, Illinois are gerrymandered to the hilt already.
Bakari's chuckling over here. Bakari from South Carolina.
I know. The reason that I'm chuckling is, one, Democrats don't, it's not that we don't want to fight for Hispanic seats. I mean, it's the fact that you're rigging the election in the middle of the 10-year period. I mean, we've already gone through a census. That happens every 10 years. We don't change the rules in the middle of the game. That's one. And two, South Carolina, I won 42, 43% of the vote in South Carolina. Bakari Sellers. It was because I was handsome, right? And we don't have 40% of the congressional seats. I mean, I hear that talking point all the time. In Alabama, you win 40% of the vote. In Arkansas, you win 40% of the vote. Democrats win 40% of the vote here, there, and everywhere else. That doesn't mean you get 40% of the
But there's a lot of talk here about rigging the rules. In Texas, the rules do explicitly allow for this.
When was the last time it happened?
In California, they do not. And in California, that is why you've got someone like Gavin Newsome who's going to have to sell to the voters of California, get rid of this independent commission, and he's going to have to get through folks like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who originally advocated
By the way,
for that commission to do it.
I'm coming right to you, but as long as you mentioned Schwarzenegger, he's a long-time opponent of gerrymandering. He advocate for independent redistricting, and he tweeted this out. I'm getting ready for the gerrymandering.
Is that how it sounded?
That's
pretty good.
Sounds like that's very good.
Bad.
That's
Anyway.
good. Listen, Democrats are welcoming the idea that there are Democrats who are bringing a knife to the knife fight of redistricting, but it points to this much bigger challenge. It's hyper partisan. You can be on the same block as somebody else and not be in the same district. The way our country has evolved to apportion voting power is fundamentally undemocratic.
Correct.
People are not one vote does not equal representation in Congress right now, and so this is part of the bigger political cronyism problem that we're seeing in the way America is dealing with Congress.
I think a lot of Americans are going to reject that outwardly. I mean, I think all 4 of us would agree that you should have independent commissions drawing these lines. Is that correct?
I'm not for independent commissions, but I'm for saying...
Because it works for the Republicans' advantage.
No, I'm for keeping counties intact. If Democrats would join me, keep counties intact, keep districts compact, I can go along with that. But Democrats don't want that. They want to use the urban vote to spread it out in as many districts as possible.
All right. Thanks one and all for being here. Really appreciate it.